Okay, ready? Go ahead. Okay, so this is lesson 3 of a series of drawing from life, going from a three-dimensional object to the two-dimensional picture plane, giving you guys some tools to use that I found very helpful in doing representational drawing. The first thing we talked about was the viewfinder in order to set up composition and help your eye and your mind to go from three-dimensional to two-dimensional. Also, when you use the viewfinder, you look through it, your arms are out straight, elbows locked, close one eye so you have monocular vision rather than binocular vision, just to review. The second thing we talked about yesterday was positive and negative space, so that will help you to get a better, clearer look at the form that you're trying to draw by looking at what's not the form. And this is an example of, very clear, this is the portrait, but this is the positive space, this is the space around. So by drawing what's around what you're trying to draw, that's another tool called using positive and negative space. These are all parts of what we haven't talked about too much is elements of art and principles of design. So those are things that are concerned with organizing the picture plane, using line, using shapes, space, harmony, balance, symmetry or asymmetry, rhythm, movement, repetition, dominance, variety and contrast. Those are all part of the elements of art and principles of design. When we looked at doing thumbnail sketches, that's what we were talking about, using different ways of balance or rhythm, the way that you balance a composition. Should the orange, when you place the orange on the picture plane, we played with different placements. In the center, how big, how small. So those are just ways for you to get an idea of what you want your picture to look like. So those are tools for you to use as an artist to develop your picture to have realism. So the next thing that you guys would really be helpful is called sight sizing, or taking measurements. So in order to take measurements, once you can use a tool, the ruler is one thing that Tom had suggested because it's got marks right on it. So you measure height and width of the object that you're trying to draw, okay? So how wide is it compared to how tall is it? It might, in the case of the orange, it looks like it's a perfect circle. So it looks like, to me, when I measure it, that the width and the height are not exactly the same. It's actually, from the center, wider by just a hair than it is tall. So that's why I'd like for you to look at the orange very closely, slow and careful observation, because your first inclination will be to just draw a circle. But if you break it down and look really closely, and we're going to use straight line construction by using the sight sizer to see every place that that circle has an edge that turns. And you're going to make a dot in your drawing. I'm not doing a demo right now, we're just discussing it, of every place that the orange changes direction. You make a dot and you connect the dots, and you find out that it's not a perfect circle. And then this is all discussing the outer edge. We haven't even discussed the inner corners yet. Inner corners of the orange, even though it's a circle, it has inner corners. The inner corner would be probably a good place to start is where the flower is at the top of the orange, where the orange connected to the tree. So those are elements of art, principles of design, tools that we can use in order to make a drawing of the three-dimensional object on the two-dimensional picture plane and make it look real. So at this point, you guys are going to continue to work on your thumbnail sketches, and I'd like for you guys to draw the orange and measure the height and the width. Use